The hospital had a way of swallowing people whole, and on her first day, everyone seemed to forget the quiet new nurse even existed. She moved through the corridors with soft steps, her navy blue scrubs perfectly pressed, her dark hair pulled back in a practical bun. Her name badge read Evelyn Carter, RN, but no one bothered to read it. The senior nurses whispered near the station, casting quick glances her way, smirking at how she flinched when alarms beeped or stretchers rushed past. To them, she looked too calm, too small, too ordinary for a trauma center that prided itself on chaos and toughness. During her first shift, she was assigned the tasks no one wanted: restocking supplies, cleaning rooms after messy procedures, sitting with combative patients. A few of the younger nurses laughed openly. "She won't last a week," one of them said, not bothering to lower her voice. "She looks like she's never seen real blood." Evelyn heard every word but said nothing. She simply nodded when given instructions and did her job with steady hands and a focused gaze that never lingered longer than necessary. Things got worse during a late-night emergency when a drunk patient became violent. Two orderlies struggled to hold him down while security was called. One of the nurses shouted for Evelyn to step back, assuming she'd freeze or panic. Instead, she moved in smoothly, her posture shifting almost imperceptibly. In seconds, the patient was restrained, his movements neutralized with precise pressure and controlled leverage that looked more like trained technique than instinct. The room fell silent for a moment. Then someone laughed it off. "Beginner's luck," they said. "Probably watched too many action movies." At break time, Evelyn sat alone in the cafeteria, sipping black coffee and staring at nothing in particular. She didn't scroll her phone or chat with coworkers. She checked her watch once, as if waiting for something, then went back to work without a word. To everyone else, she was just the quiet new nurse, easy to ignore, easier to mock. No one noticed the faint military-style tattoo hidden beneath her sleeve. No one asked why her file had gaps that didn't quite make sense. And no one could imagine that, somewhere beyond the hospital walls, a chain of events had already begun, one that would soon shake the building, silence the laughter, and force every single person there to see Evelyn Carter for who she really was. By the third day, the jokes about Evelyn had turned into routine entertainment for the staff. Every shift seemed to bring a new comment: how she spoke too little, how she moved like she was always calculating distances, how she never complained no matter how heavy the workload became. When a senior nurse deliberately dumped a stack of charts on her desk and told her to organize them properly, "Rookie," Evelyn simply replied, "Yes, ma'am," and got to work. The others exchanged amused looks, convinced her silence was weakness. That afternoon, a multi-vehicle accident flooded the ER with critical patients. Sirens screamed outside, stretchers lined the halls, and the air filled with the sharp scent of antiseptic and panic. Evelyn was assigned to assist a trauma surgeon known for his temper. He barked orders rapidly, barely glancing at her. Yet every instrument he asked for was already in her hand. Every vital sign was reported clearly and on time. When a monitor malfunctioned mid-procedure, Evelyn fixed it in seconds without being told, her fingers moving with calm precision. The surgeon paused, eyes narrowing slightly, then continued without comment. Later, one of the residents cornered her near the supply room. "Where did you train?" he asked, half curious, half suspicious. Evelyn met his gaze briefly. "All over," she said, then stepped past him before he could ask more. Her answer only fueled the gossip. Some said she was hiding something embarrassing. Others claimed she'd lied on her resume and was trying not to get caught. That night, the hospital received a sealed call from an unfamiliar number. It went straight to administration, flagged urgent, and classified beyond normal protocol. No one on the floor knew about it, but a quiet tension began to spread through the building. Security was instructed to clear the rooftop helipad just in case, though no medical transport was scheduled. Maintenance crews were told to stand by, and a senior administrator arrived long after business hours, his expression tight and unreadable. Meanwhile, Evelyn continued her shift as if nothing had changed. She checked on patients, adjusted 4 lines, and spoke gently to a frightened child in recovery, promising him he'd be okay. But when she passed a window and heard a distant, unfamiliar thrum echoing somewhere far off, her steps slowed for just a fraction of a second. Her jaw tightened, her eyes sharpening with recognition. Whatever was coming, She knew it before anyone else did. The next morning began with an uneasy quiet, the kind that settled in right before a storm. Even the usually loud nurses' station felt subdued, conversations hushed and nervous. Word had spread that something official was happening, though no one knew what. A few staff members joked about inspections or surprise donors, but their laughter sounded forced. Evelyn arrived early, as always, and clocked in without drawing attention. She wore the same plain scrubs, the same neutral expression, blending seamlessly into the background. Mid-morning, a code blue was called in the cardiac wing. The team rushed in, adrenaline spiking as a middle-aged man went into sudden arrest. Chaos erupted, voices overlapping, equipment clattering, hands moving too fast. In the middle of it all, Evelyn's calm presence anchored the room. She took over chest compressions with flawless rhythm, her strength controlled, never faltering. When the defibrillator was prepped, she stepped back instantly, anticipating the command before it was spoken. After long, tense minutes, the patient's heartbeat returned. A few staff exchanged glances, unsettled by how natural it all had looked. Not long after, security was called to the main entrance. A delivery truck had attempted to enter a restricted area, and the driver was becoming aggressive. Two guards struggled to keep him back as his voice echoed through the lobby. Several nurses gathered at a safe distance, whispering anxiously. Before anyone could stop her, Evelyn walked forward, her posture relaxed but alert. She spoke quietly to the man, her tone even and firm. In less than a minute, his shouting faded. He stepped back, hands raised, suddenly cooperative. When security finally took over, they stared at Evelyn in disbelief. She simply returned to her duties as if nothing unusual had occurred. By noon, the rooftop helipad was completely cleared. Elevators near it were locked down, and hospital leadership moved through the halls with tense expressions, avoiding questions. A rumor spread that a military aircraft might be landing, though no one believed it. "This isn't a base," someone scoffed. "Why would the Navy come here?" Evelyn overheard the comment as she adjusted a patient's chart. Her lips pressed into a thin line, and for the first time since she'd arrived, a flicker of something crossed her face, resignation, mixed with resolve. She glanced toward the ceiling, toward the helipad above them, and exhaled slowly. It wouldn't be long now. The sound came just after lunch, low at first, like distant thunder rolling across the city. Most people ignored it, assuming it was traffic or construction. But as the minutes passed, the vibration deepened, rattling windows and light fixtures. Conversations stopped mid-sentence. Someone at the nurse's station looked up, confused. "Do you hear that?" they asked. Before anyone could answer, the unmistakable chop of helicopter blades filled the air, powerful and deliberate. The hospital went into instant lockdown mode. Security rushed to seal entrances, and administrators barked orders into radios. Patients pressed their call buttons in panic, thinking something terrible had happened. From the windows on the upper floors, staff watched in disbelief as a dark Navy helicopter descended onto the rooftop helipad, its markings clear and official. Wind blasted across the roof, scattering loose papers and sending a shockwave through the building. This was no medical evacuation. Everyone could feel it. Down on the floor, the laughter was gone. The same nurses who had mocked Evelyn now stood frozen, staring at one another with wide eyes. "Why would the Navy land here?" someone whispered. Another voice trembled. "Is there a threat?" No one had answers. Only Evelyn moved with purpose. She calmly handed off her patient to another nurse, checked that everything was stable, and then walked toward the restricted elevators without hesitation. A senior administrator intercepted her, flustered and red-faced. "Miss, you can't be here. This area is." He stopped when Evelyn met his eyes. There was something different about her now. The quiet softness was gone, replaced by a presence that demanded attention without raising its voice. "They're here for me," she said simply. Not arrogantly, not nervously, just a statement of fact. Before he could respond, the elevator doors opened. Two men stepped out wearing Navy uniforms, their posture rigid, eyes sharp. The entire hallway seemed to hold its breath. They scanned the area once, then locked onto Evelyn. In perfect unison, they stopped, stood at attention, and addressed her with unmistakable respect. "Ma'am," one of them said clearly, his voice carrying down the corridor, "we've been ordered to escort you immediately." Gasps rippled through the staff. Someone dropped a clipboard. The administrator's face drained of color. Evelyn nodded once, slipping her badge into her pocket. As she followed the men toward the elevator, the people